please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? The month of May has been a fascinating one for Amber because she finally started to turn it up a notch with the upload frequency rate. At the start of the year, she said she would upload one every other day, meaning 15 videos for most months. However, up until now, she had barely done 10. I say barely, she hadn't hit 10 once. In May, with 31 days, she uploaded 14 times. And you do see on her social blade that she had gone from 672,000 views in the month of April, which is the lowest she has had in several years, up to 918,000 views. It should be noted though, with her regular uploads, the viewership of that is continuing to decline. At the start of the year, she was just about hitting 50,000. Now she's lucky to hit 40,000. So her uploading more would be an indicator she has realized she can't get by on what she is making, regardless of the number of ads that are being littered throughout her videos every 2 minutes. I say this because I got increasingly frustrated during a live stream on this channel called the Dainty Queen stream, where I got ads every 2 minutes. It was beyond irritating. Because she has uploaded a lot more content, although you can argue even though it is more content, it is equally more nontent, and it certainly is more nontent. Amber starts the month by continuing the discussion from the end of April, talking about her mother, because of that one little clip that I already debunked because Amber had already featured her mother on her TikTok, because TikTok Lynn at that point was close to getting monetized. To get monetized on TikTok, you need 100,000 followers, and TikTok Lynn needs the coin. And at time of recording, Amberlynn Reid has succeeded in hitting 100,000 followers on TikTok. So there is a distinct possibility she can in fact start to make little pennies over there as well. Well done, Amber. It's about damn time you started to spread yourself anyway, creatively, but also so that you can capitalize on the fact that TikTok is not as familiar with you as YouTube is, as your YouTube fame declines. Because Amber continued the month by talking about her mother, that is how I would like to proceed for this month. Before we then get into Amber's change over the course of the month, where she not only trolls the audience to minimal success, but then starts a new weight loss journey with Ozempic. I know that's a spoiler, but let's face it, at this point, Amber's one of the few people that has ever failed Ozempic, and she's dumb enough to go back on it. Maybe she is earning money off TikTok.
I have done a lot of therapy. Even in my most recent successful therapy sessions, I just want to make it very clear, I've never bashed my family. That's not something I would ever do. I would never bash my parents.
You know, and I just want to tell you that, Aunt Tammy, if you're listening still, that the people who say they like you, they don't really like you. They're liking the drama, and you're giving it to them.
Like ever. The subject of my past and the things that I have been through is very heavy. Thank you to Sam, because if it wasn't for you, my mom would have never known, and that has now officially been fixed. So we do appreciate that.
Now that entire video, that first vlog of the month, is entirely shot in her apartment. She does nothing. She opens some Amazon tat, talks about how everything means something to her, how she basically hides so much about herself and has never talked about her parents' past or her own childhood, which has been debunked by Becky, Casey, in fact many others who have talked about this. Because Amber, while saying in this same vlog she was glossing over these subjects, she gave enough information to the internet, which is a weapon, and they simply went and got the information. And then when Amber was found to be liar Lynn, they called her out for it. This vlog is her trying to seem like a philosopher. Actually, it just enhances the belief that she has a inflated sense of self-importance. So on to video number 2. Because she did everything inside, Amber goes outside for this one. She goes to Target.
Really pop shopping at ColourPop. Or is that how you said it?
Yeah.
It's more so like you should have been there type of thing. And I didn't even know that Target had ColourPop, but that's pretty cool. So my preferred eyeliner is usually e.l.f. liquid eyeliner, but NYX has some like colored ones.
Now, unlike the previous video, there was no most watched rewatched, replayed part of that video. But there was a part that I found quite interesting because it showed a level of naivety and stupidity, not that we didn't already know this, and it concerned something as trivial as a micro SD card. Because Amber's a gamer girl, everyone, and she knows what she's doing.
I low-key am a gamer sometimes. I got an SD card for the good old Switch. God, it's so tiny. I was not expecting it to be so freaking small. Do you guys think small things are cute? Because I do. Like, something about little tiny things is just so adorable. Anyways, I needed this because I have been obsessed with Fortnite lately.
Not to be that person, but if you're going to buy a micro SD card for your Switch and get as much out of it as you can, I would highly recommend you buy a terabyte. While the 128 will certainly go reasonably far if you don't have many games, it seems pointless, especially when you only got it because of the iconography related to Mario on it. Now in the third upload, Amberlynn Reid decided to show us what she ate while off track because she's preparing, everyone. She is preparing for the almightiest of health changes. Okay, so this is what Amber ate in one day when she was totally off track and not what she normally eats.
Hello, welcome to a new vlog. All right, so I ordered food. So here is my first meal. So I got Five Guys, actually. So I got their regular size Cajun fry. So for the cheeseburger, y'all, I tell you, they give you so many fries. I was just empty. $2.50.
As you can see, her off-track day is no different to her on-track day. Vast amounts of carbs and sugars, and doing sod all to change that. Now, one of the arcs we need to pay more attention to rather than the relationship stuff of Amber getting more and more balls deep invested in Fortnite, which barely features but gets some odd references here and there, is her appointments with the doctors. Because Amber wants to obviously make changes and get the cycle renewed. To do that, she needs to go to a doctor's first.
So I haven't said this in a hot minute, but I have a doctor's appointment today. So let's go do that. Because of that appointment I went to. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of questions of like, what was it for? I already know that. And that's why I'm only coming on here now to say like, I personally am not ready to talk about it.
This is Amberlynn teasing things, something which she was in turn teased for in the comment section to this video, because it seems redundant to allude to the fact you're doing something, but then to not be willing to discuss what it is you're doing in the first place. Although for the sake of it, she does eventually in a follow-up video talk about it. We're going to skip over the follow-up video to this, the immediate one anyway, and instead go to starting a new medicine, more doctor's appointments, because she continues to allude vaguely what's going on, whilst also talking about fat acceptance and how you need to be a champion for yourself. Somewhat ironic, and it is definitely worth playing here.
Okay, so I just got out of my doctor's appointment. I did cry a little in there. It is what it is. So I think the doctor that I saw today, I think that he is going to be like my official doctor. I really genuinely liked him.
Amber, how long have you been in Oklahoma to now get a doctor? It's been a bit of a while, don't you think?
It is what it is. I have a hard time with doctors because people my size are discriminated against in healthcare. Just remember to be an advocate for yourself. Very important. I always stand by that.
Which is why you weigh over 500 pounds, still have your food delivered on a regular by Uber, and all the food you actually buy you don't use unless you're drunk. Now, while the follow-up video talks about something else health related, I'm going to skip it temporarily and go to her finally explaining why she's been seeing doctors recently. I should insert, of course, when it comes to health scares, I think it vitally important we look after ourselves. It's just a shame the last time you had a genuine health scare, you did nothing.
Hey guys, welcome to a new vlog. So today I have an appointment to get a CT scan. So it was a little over 2 weeks ago. I went pee and I noticed there was blood in my pee. And of course I went on to the Google. So I called around to a couple doctors and one of them was like, we don't have an appointment open until next year.
There's a reason I've reduced that down. I've reduced it down because Amber talks a lot more in detail about blood and pee. YouTube make it a bit tricky here to get monetized with that kind of conversation, but it's okay though. I can now provide the Cliffs Notes. She went to WebMD and forums to get advice and they all agreed UTI. She eventually did get to a doctor's and they have booked her in for a CT scan we'll get to in a moment. Because she had her hysterectomy, anything that is red down there is a big warning for her. You'd also would have thought, because of that hysterectomy and the reason for it, she would have learnt. but if there's a chance it comes back or she has issues, she has clearly not learnt. And during the same video, she goes on and on and on about how this is not her fault. Let's get to the CT scan, shall we?
You guys, I wish I was joking when I tell you this, but the freaking CT scan weight limit was my exact weight, so they didn't want to like have me do it. So they're calling my doctor on Monday and I'm gonna have to do it at a different place, but I just literally cannot believe that. Like, I'm so... I get it, it's my fault, but like, wow. My mom's taking a cigarette break with her boyfriend. We just ate at a Denny's because there's a salad that she likes here, so...
Okay, so there are a couple things worth highlighting here. For the past few videos, you've been talking about how emotionally traumatized you have been by the very idea that you could perhaps have an electric boogaloo with the dreaded C word. A CT scan is booked for you, you go to it, and you weigh the exact amount that that particular CT scan can have as a weight limit, meaning you are unable to have your CT scan, even though if you are the same as the weight limit, surely that means you can in fact have it. Shortly after, you go straight to Denny's because salad, which we totally believe is why you went there. Point of contention, I guess. I know they do heavier ones in fact, but a typical load capacity for the majority of the CT scan machines you will find is 450 pounds, but there is a GE Optima that goes up to 500 pounds or 227 kilos. Apparently, our quarter-ton princess is still a quarter-ton princess. There haven't been any weigh-ins yet, so we haven't seen where she's at. But there's a reason for that, because Amber wants to show you how quickly she can lose all that with no effort whatsoever when she gets back onto, you're right, it's your boy, Ozempic.
So you wouldn't notice unless I was super close, so hello, sorry for the jump scare. But I have a little yellow down here. I decided to use some of my NYX. It's NYX Epic Wear liner stick. Obsessed, you can't really tell.
I'll be honest, Amber, I thought you were jaundiced and you were trying to hide it with the rest of the makeup on your face.
So I actually just got back from the med spa and they did in fact take my lab work. So I have to keep it in the fridge, obviously. So I'm literally going back on Ozempic. Yes, I am. It's a pretty penny. It is a pretty freaking penny. Like, why does it have to be so expensive?
The reason Ozempic is as expensive as it is because Novo Nordisk own the patent, and that doesn't run out until 2031. They have a monopoly on the product. You're welcome.
I'm probably gonna do a weigh-in like the first day that I do my first Ozempic shot, so.
Oddly enough, in the video where Amber indicated she was too big for the CT scan, she actually had her first Ozempic shot and her mother did it for her. I'm not going to show that in this video. Her weight is 500.4 pounds, apparently. Of course, we don't believe that because everything she does is a camera facing the ceiling. If she was smart, she'd find out how much the clothes she wears weighs, and then she could remove that from what the scales say she weighs in a form of zeroing the scales. We're now going to carry on with the Ozempic aspect with a weigh-in vlog and a health update.
It is what it is. I do want to give a little bit of an update on Ozempic. Today's day 3. Day 1, in the middle of the night, like while I was sleeping, I woke up multiple times. So nauseous. And then I woke up yesterday morning literally rushing to the toilet thinking that I was actually gonna puke because I was that nauseous, and I didn't though, so thank God. And then I woke up today again extremely nauseous.
Because Amberlynn is a pro at keeping food down, there's no version of this where she actually throws up. But the part that matters in this video is the weigh-in. I believe she was 500.4 last time she weighed herself in, but didn't at the same time, and now we have an update.
And by the way, I did weigh myself today and I just now remembered that because it was a couple hours ago. So I'm gonna add that here. Okay, so I am curious if my weight has moved at all. So I am gonna weigh myself.
Hello, it's ready.
Okay, stepping on.
496.8 pounds.
If you're a gamer like Amberlynn Reid,
I low-key am a gamer sometimes.
the following will make sense. R1, R2, L1, R2, left, down, right, up, left, down, left. Yes, she used the cheat code. Congratulations! Her weapon cheat was obviously a syringe, because she doesn't have to do anything now to lose weight. But it does mean she can take liberties with this, and I have no doubt in my mind she is going to take liberties, and she's going to relapse because she always does. This is an incredibly expensive process. So she needs TikTok Lynn to do well to make up for the fact that YouTube Lynn is failing so badly. Those extra views don't count for much, especially when I got very little in the way of ads on videos where she featured Ozempic.
Alright, you guys, I'm about to step on the scale again. So, let's do it. I already turned it on. Whoopsies!
495.4 pounds.
So yes, in one video we did get 2 weigh-ins and Amber did have a sharp drop, a stabilised drop. We'll continue on with the next video, I promise. Again, I will make my point quite clear. Amberlynn Reid is using a cheat code here, and I don't support it. Considering what she is willing to do, which is very little, this will not help her in the long run if to stay thinner she has to be on something like Ozempic, because her cravings will always come back to bite her. We're now going to skip ahead to the penultimate video she released for the month of May. Week 1 weigh-in on Ozempic and, you know, other rubbish, but she's actually out and about at least.
I totally forgot. Like, how did I forget this? I guess it's because I had to get a few of these cameos completed. Like, someone requested a 24-hour one yesterday, and I literally just saw it today. I was like, oh my god, first of all, thank you for requesting the 24-hour one. Like, you're like an angel. So sweet.
Okay, so 2 points to add. Firstly, yes, Cameo is something that Amberlynn Reid uses. Clearly she's getting a fair amount of traffic because there's no way with AdSense she's making enough from passive views to actually get by on AdSense alone these days. And as CPM concerning TikTok is a bit of a grey area, I cannot be certain she's making that much from that at the moment. The second point to add, which one of you paid for that? Be honest, put it in the comments.
I'm about to go get completely naked, step on that damn scale, and be so proud of myself.
Amber, what do you have to be proud of? You paid for a cheat code because you don't want to put the effort in. The only time you come close to vaguely putting in effort is when you just start dating somebody. But after a week of trying, you give up because they like you the way you are, so you can regress and get closer and closer to being bedbound again. You have nothing to be proud of.
Okay guys, so I did weigh myself. Alright you guys, I'm so excited.
Hello, it's ready.
Okay, stepping on, moment of truth, fingers are crossed.
488.2 pounds.
488.2.
Must be all that water weight, Amber, eh? I'm so proud of you for losing 12 pounds in a week. Interesting to note, somebody else in your life is on their own weight loss journey. You're a mother, and I believe it's mentioned in this video as well.
So I'm currently with my mom.
Tell me how much I lost?
19, right?
19.
My mom's down 19. And I have heard some people asking if she's also on Ozempic. No.
No.
She's doing it all on her own.
Calories.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Mama Lynn. I'm intrigued that now your mother's been put on blast, she's featured a lot more in your content this month. We'll get to that when I get to a conclusion for this month. There's one other point of interest that the comments section flayed you for, and it was for mocking your mum for her footwear when you yourself have worn the exact same dirty, stinky flats for years.
You guys, are these swimming shoes? Wait, are these swimming shoes?
I bought them in the swim section to get wet.
Mom, if you bought them in the swim section, I think they're for swimming, right?
They're the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn. Like, they weigh like nothing.
They look comfy. You can't tell, but they're purple. On camera, they look gray. Yeah, they match your hair.
You know I'm not supposed to wear them.
I think those are swim shoes.
So to the final video of the month, titled My Symptoms Are Back, Having a Breakdown and Going to a Barbecue. Turns out when you put yourself crying on a thumbnail, usually you get a lot of upvotes and support. Amber though, no, not this time. Whereas before when she had her cancer scare, people genuinely wanted her to get help and be okay. This time, the amount of support available to her has reduced. Think of it like the window of acceptable comedy. As more and more time progresses, and society becomes more what is dubbed progressive, comedy gets weaker and weaker because you can make less and less edgy jokes. With Amber, the big problem she has is she's cried wolf far too many times.
Okay, you guys, so today is day 10 that I've been on semaglutide, Ozempic, whatever you want to call it. So I really want to weigh in because I'm curious. I did not weigh myself yesterday. And I've had a very busy last few days. So normally when that happens, like, it's very Amberlynn coded to like gain weight. So let's see how I did.
Hello, it's ready.
Stepping on.
486.8 pounds.
So yes, Amber has dropped a little more weight in 2 days. She's She's committed to Ozempic, but I have no doubt once it starts to go up again, she'll quit. Now we should probably get to the part where the first part of the title is more relevant, not the part at the start where she mentions her mum panicking because she was sleeping so heavy her mother was trying to break a window.
Give you guys a little update on my health. I told you guys that I stopped having blood in my urine. I was having a little pelvis pain and lower back pain, and then that went away. Unfortunately, those things are back today, and I've had really bad, sharp pelvis pain. It's just scary, and I feel emotional. Fuck. Like, genuinely. I just really hate this. Like,
of course, I wish no ill health on Amberlynn Reid, but I do fully accept that a lot of the problems she has are exacerbated because of the fact she has not made any discernible changes to her life beyond using repeated cheat codes and failing with them. So my sympathy for her in this instance is very limited, but it still exists. Going into June, Amber needs to address this. She'll undoubtedly make more content about that and the CT scan, and of course her Ozempic journey. So now we're going to get to a bit of a conclusion. I firmly believe the reason Amber made more videos is not just because her views well and truly tanked in April, but also because she finally found her muse, in the form of her mother featuring more in her content. Because while at first she took great offense to her mother being on blast, now they have ridden that wave. They are at a point where she can use her and use her to the fullest. So Amber can still make her content, but she now has the ability to get out and do more. As she is now more active on places like TikTok as well, she has an extra form of income coming in, which means there is a distinct chance Amber is going to get lazy, complacent, because once she gets to that pinnacle where she's making a fair bit, she will cut back on her activity. Time will tell whether or not this feature of her mother in content will then mean she makes more content in June. I firmly believe she will, but I'm open to being proven wrong. The vast majority of her content though was non-tent. It really was. So Amber still desperately needs her mother. Whereas at the start of the year her videos averaged around 50,000 views, now they're getting closer and closer to 35. For somebody that once pulled in 100,000 on a daily, this is tragic. Her channel is effectively on life support. So let's see if June can help her out at all. For the month of June, there are a number of stories, arcs, that we need to discuss. Arcs within this non-tent era can be quite small, of course they are. We have the arc concerning her mother featuring more in her content, more content being produced because the views are still going down, Amber's Ozempic or semaglutide journey, which includes weigh-ins, yes, there are some of those. And of course Amber's relationship to somebody that we know nothing about. Oh, hang on, there's one other thing as well. The CT scan story, moment, situation type of deal. We're going to start by talking about the CT scan itself. It features in a number of videos right at the start of the month, with further updates later on concerning her gallbladder. The first video we're going to look at is the first video she released in the month of June, titled "Got My CT Scan, I'm Scared and Sobriety Update Vlog."
hello, welcome to a new vlog. I am coming at you super freaking frustrated, I'm not gonna lie.
This video is 9 minutes and 5 seconds long. In this video, it took her nearly 3 minutes to get to the part where she actually has the CT scan, but at no point in this vlog does she actually go anywhere but her apartment. We don't get anything outside. We don't get anything at a doctor's. We get just her telling us what she's been doing. I swear she could post this on Tumblr for all the use it does her. I'm going to skip to the part where she has had the CT scan. Should be noted, in this video, we do not have the results of it yet.
So I just got home and I'm feeling really emotional. Like, it was a fast process and everyone there was super sweet, but I just felt like after the CT scan, I felt like the radiologist like acted different. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if it's my anxiety or what it is, but like my anxiety or my gut or my thoughts are telling me she saw something, but she's not able to tell me, obviously. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I just felt like there was
gibberish running through your mind because you wanted any excuse to try and use some emotions to drum up additional interest in your dying, dwindling viewing content. In a follow-up video, Amber finally gives us the results of the CT scan. She also gives us a update on her semaglutide Ozempic nonsense, and yet again she doesn't move for an entire video, considers it a vlog, and tries to preach from a position of I am simply better and above.
Hello you guys, welcome to a new vlog. So we are starting off with my CT scan results. Well, I saw the results. It showed that I have a hernia, which I've known that. And then something else I knew that I had is I have a benign tumor on my adrenal gland. But the big thing that I was looking for was, what does it say about my bladder? But there's nothing on my bladder, there's nothing in my bladder. The results said I have a remarkable, as they call it, remarkable bladder. That's just like the technical term they use. So I literally was worrying for nothing. So then I kept going through and I was like, okay, well, it has to be something. Well, so it turns out that I have a 6mm kidney stone.
Firstly, no one says remarkable bladder unless something is wrong with it. That is not a technical term. Shut up. Second, everyone told you it was a kidney stone, you just ignored them because they're your hater. How dare they say what it is ahead of time? We are going to play one more little clip from this concerning Ozempic, because it is a relevant and prevalent theme for this month. Because while Amber is doing very little to improve her health, she is hoping, obviously, and it becomes quite obvious later on in the month, that she is using and leaning on Ozempic to get the weight down rather than her doing anything to improve the situation with it.
Like I said, I thought I was going towards doom. I've noticed since being sober and also taking semaglutide, I'm able to have things like this. You guys saw me when I hauled this. They are sour cream and onion corn puffs, and I love them. They're so good, but I'm able to enjoy a few and then move on with my day. Food is not like consuming my mind anymore.
Based on your lack of activity and the fact you are barely putting any effort into losing weight, as in actually going out doing things, walking about more, putting a bit of concerted effort into perhaps even working out in your home, this is a lie. Also, the quote about doom, yes, I had to insert that because of your overreaction part. You had cancer and it didn't cause you to change. A kidney stone isn't either. Your hyperactive mind is apparently the only part of you that is hyperactive. On to video number 3.
Hey guys, welcome to a new vlog. So today is my 3rd semaglutide injection. So I'm super excited about that, and I'm not really sure what else today has in store. So I'm sure you guys were expecting a weigh-in because I said I'm gonna do Saturday weigh-ins, and today is Saturday since Saturday are my injection days. But I weighed myself on day 10, which you guys saw that. I was 486.8, I'm pretty sure. And then I weighed myself the next day and I gained 2 pounds. I was like, your girl is so beyond confused. So then obviously I weighed myself the day after that and I lost the 2 pounds. And it was in that moment where I realized the scale holds so much power over me. And actually I've always known that, but it was in that moment that I realized, processed, and then was like, I need to make a better choice for myself. And that is to like not weigh myself as much, especially during week 2.
Basically, Amberlynn Reid has decided to reduce her output of weigh-ins to every 10 days. The reason why is obvious. She put on weight. Not just those 2 pounds. We all know she actually put on more weight than that. This is Amber basically fobbing everyone off because Ozempic, it turns out in this particular plateau of her story, has decided it's not going to play ball if she's not willing to make the effort. There are, after all, limits to how effective Ozempic can be when you are unwilling to make changes to work with it. Amber talks a lot about how she's doing well with her eating. Clearly that's a lie, and this video is littered with her basically performing bad habits in action. I'm going to play one more clip from it before we go to the next video, which is oddly just before a weigh-in in fact. The clip I'm going to set up with the following. If you have seen Content Constable number 3 on Amberlynn Reid, you know exactly the joke I want to make with this clip.
My mom's car is currently taking a shower. All clean. Woo!
Now, video number 5 for this month concerns Pride Month and Amberlynn Reid attending a Pride event. The part that matters, though, is actually someone we haven't featured much yet they have featured a lot in the video so far. Well, random bits here and there, but a lot more even on TikTok as well. and that's Amber's mother. I have repeatedly stated I do not believe Amber's mother should feature in any of the content, but now Amber has her muse and the drama surrounding her featuring in the first place has died down. People dragging the criminal record and all that. Amber has her muse, which means she's going to use her as much as possible. She really is, because that's what Amber always needs. She cannot function alone. We know this because when Amber does content on her own, she will just sit in her apartment and do nothing beyond regurgitating, so it's the next day. In this video, and it's something I don't think Amber should have put out there, she puts her mother's coming out story into the video.
Y'all, I'm about to put my mom's hair up in a ponytail. I don't know how. I've never done it before.
You excited?
Yeah, I'm not the only gay person in this room right now.
Amber. Oh, Amber. Oh gosh, she's talking about us. Never mind.
Don't worry, I'll edit it. I'm gonna leave that word.
I was with a woman for 5 years.
Yes, she
Does
was.
that make me gay? I don't know.
I mean, Mom, you were in a relationship with a woman for 5 years. So yeah, I think you're a little gay.
The one thing about this video I do think is quite good is that Amber does actually go out and about and features in this Pride event. That's fantastic. It's just a shame that Amber doesn't do more content like this going out and about. It is worth adding though that it doesn't matter now at this stage in Amber's career what she does. People are still not bothering to turn up. They are preferring instead to look at Twitter, or X, to instead look at the reviews for her vlogs, which if you go to Twitter you'll notice gets a lot more traffic than she does on her YouTube channel. And there is another talking point about her views, because now her views are creeping into steady 30s for thousands of views per video. She has to put out more content because her views are going even lower. I'm uncertain for how much longer Amberlynn Reid can be as deluded as she currently is to make such crap content, or call it content charitably, when she knows it's not going to give her that longevity or sustainability, because once it's truly gone and there's no coming back, she's beyond stuffed, and TikTok Lynn is not going to save this one. So moving on to the next video, we go to day 20, semaglutide Ozempic weigh-in. Yay. Let's see how much weight he's managed to lose by doing sod all.
But yeah. Okay guys, so I want to give a little weight loss update. Today is day 10 that I've been on semaglutide, which is pretty much like Ozempic. Amberlynn, you meant to say day 20. It's literally just compounded Ozempic. So I want to give an update on that because myself, I literally did not weigh myself until today. And I was actually so happy with what I saw on the scale. This is the very reason why I should not weigh in daily, because fluctuations will happen. Anyways, let's just like get into the weigh-in. So here it is.
Hello, it's ready.
All right, so I'm on the scale. If you guys hear Twinkie growling, that's because she hears someone in the hallway.
481.2.
481.2?
Yes, so Amberlynn Reid, congratulations are in order. You are now down to 481.2. I see we're in a ballpark you are quite familiar with. Weren't you here last time? Or not so long ago? You know, it doesn't matter. You're going to bounce back at some point. We have no doubt of it in our minds. This cheat code, which I will continue to call it in the context of what Amberlynn Reid is doing, cheat code, is, at this present moment, working for you. Which is exactly what you pay for, isn't it? For something to do something for you so you don't have to do it yourself. Before someone gets offended that I called it a cheat code, do remember, in the context of Amberlynn Reid, this is exactly what it is. Not all, don't be a sensitive prat for 5 sodding minutes. Now, something I want to highlight before we go to the next video is that while Amberlynn Reid is making more content, as you see in the image, Amberlynn Reid is making shorter content. Yet while in many of these videos, so is the next day, features at least 3 times, she is making less so she can pump out more. Drag out the non-tent to try and get more views in. Because if she put 2 of these videos together to make one video like she used to, she would get soddle views and make soddle money. The next video is titled Gallbladder Update, so that is where we are now heading.
But let's do questions of the day, of course. What did the CT scan say about your gallbladder? Do you still have gallstones? They actually didn't see anything in my gallbladder, so I guess not, question mark, because there was nothing there.
No lie, that is the only mention in this entire video of gallstones, instead focusing on a grocery haul and getting rid of quite a lot of her formerly torrid haul, some of which I believe to her mother. What I found infuriating about this video is that everything's a question to Amber, something she's been doing for a while, and it's kind of annoying, an inflection at the end of every sentence. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Additionally, Amber wears a lot of these dresses as she talks about and calls them cute. They are cute if she wore them as a dress and not as a shirt. Her size does her no favours and they can't look cute on her. That shelf booty does her no favours. I'm going to skip over the next video on the list concerning everything I ate today, because she does actually go out and about. It's pointless. But forcing her to eat for 12 minutes straight on semaglutide, I do want to cover, because this video isn't just bait, it's completely pointless.
Hey guys, welcome to a new vlog. So I am going to start saying the dates in these videos so people don't have to be confused and start matching up timelines and making sense of it all. So I'll just tell you, today is Monday, June 10th.
The video was released on June the 16th. This is important because it does show Amber is yet again stockpiling content and non-tent to regurgitate and produce when it seems convenient for her to drum up additional interest in her content. At least in the month of June, she is closer to honouring her New Year's resolution of a video every other day. Closer, still doesn't hit the target. She owes us, I think, about 20 to 25 videos this year so far. I don't expect to see those videos unless they're on TikTok in the form of 15-second thirst trap postings from the fat girl angle.
I am not hungry. I literally do not want to eat. Don't want to drink anything. I mean, I'm trying to get in my water, so we are doing that, so.
This video is titled Forcing Myself to Eat for 12 Minutes Straight. The video is 12 minutes 35 seconds long. She eats for about 2 minutes in this entire video. Not even that. This video is solely done as clickbait to try and make it seem like Ozempic is truly benefiting her body as her weight continues to plummet down and down because she's doing so darn well. In the next video that we're going to go to 1 month Ozempic weigh-in and skip over the let's talk about my legs, am I smoking again vlog, because that one is redundant. Her mother features more, she's on the thumbnail, she has her muse, we all know this is happening. But the weigh-in at 1 month is important.
Oh my god! I did it! I've got the leaderboard, 87 keys. This is literally my favorite one. Okay, so I gave my mom my tickets because I didn't want anything. And she got this yoga rolling thing. We should roll it and you should do the pose it lands on for the vlog. I'm gonna do whatever this rolls on, okay?
Yeah, right. You can just wait till we get home. Oh, wait. It's the cowfish.
After enjoying her time at the arcade, because yes, we had to feature a little bit of that and some bants with her mother, her muse, we do get to the weigh-in. Here is the weigh-in.
Okay guys, so I do want to do my Saturday weigh-in here. So here's that. Let's do this weigh-in.
Hello, it's ready. 476.6 pounds.
476.6.
So her 10-day progress report isn't as great as you'd think it would be. Using Ozempic, the weight is not sloughing off because she's clearly still keeping that intake as high as she can keep it. We know this because to maintain her weight at this weight would require phenomenal amounts of calories. Ozempic is fighting that. The moment she comes off this, which there's a belief she will at some point this year anyway, the weight will come back on. It won't take long either because Amber just needs one solid mukbang to undo everything. Now, just before we get to a video on the beatus, I want to highlight something I noticed. I was watching Amber's videos and realized I wasn't getting a single ad for any of it. I did check to see whether I had a membership to her channel or something. I do not. I have not seen a single ad for any video in the month of June 2024. With that in mind, now let's talk about the next video where she talks about the beatus.
Okay guys, so I have been home for a little bit and my mom is now gone. I spent the last 2 days with her and as you guys know, she stayed the night. I'm currently going through something kind of heavy. My heart's been kind of heavy and even just thinking about it and talking about it makes me want to cry. So we're just gonna move on.
I like that Amber likes to insert these, I'm going to talk about something, but I'm not going to talk about these moments. Not to worry. We'll get to this one in the final video she releases in the month. Consider it foreshadowing, because her heart is heavy, guys. On to the beatus talk.
All right, you guys, so it is the end of the night, so we're gonna do questions of the day. Why do you say you're proud of yourself, but it is the weight loss shot that is actually doing the job? Explain that one to me, please and thanks. So I am actively eating less because of semaglutide, but what I'm proud of is that I am actively making smarter choices, but I don't order takeout anymore, and I've ordered takeout twice. You said you got your labs done when you went to the med spa. What did they say your A1C was? Did you even get those results? I actually did get those results, so I'll put them right here. So here are my results. My A1C is 5.3, which means I am not even a pre-diabetic. So yay.
First things first, I had to include the other stuff because our audience are holding her accountable, and she managed to try and mental gymnastics it and failed miserably when she says, I don't need takeaways, and then to do takeaways. It was hilarious. I call hard X to doubt on the results of her pre-diabetic nonsense, because there's no way at her size she can stave that off forever, not at her age anymore anyway. Third, a lot of her videos feature this art you see on the screen because she thinks it's cute. In between Amazon hauls, Torrid hauls, U-hauls, Walmart hauls, the moments that really make the videos, this is what she's latching onto as a new addiction of colouring in. Therapeutic for her. Okay. You know what, more therapeutic than that though?
Every time.
Oh, you gotta give him that huck!
Go to the f***ing gym. Go to the f***ing gym.
On to the next video.
Hello guys, good morning. Okay guys, we do need to talk. This wasn't something that I was gonna bring up now because I can't say like the full story around it. And I know a lot of people hate when I'm like, there's something going on, I'll tell you about it later, which actually a lot of YouTubers do that, but it's like legitimately true. I'm only sharing this now for like continuity reasons and because I feel like my semaglutide story is something that's like a really big thing in my life right now. So 2 days ago when I took my 5th semaglutide shot, I was supposed to increase my dose. So I was supposed to double the dose that I took for the first 4 weeks, but I wasn't allowed to. And the reason why is the section that I can't yet say.
Let's be honest here, Amberlynn is intentionally doing this so that she can set up stories later down the road for that continuity as she mentioned. As far as I'm concerned, she has no reason to actually reference it yet, but she did get called out in her comments quite a bit for being a liar, along with also the Kardashian voice that infuriates everyone. In this same video, Amber likes to show off her high protein food she's considering or purchased because ma'am, as she said in the video itself, in fact, I didn't play that clip, you don't need to suffer that, along with further inflections that don't need to exist. She's trying to make it seem like she's making all these changes, but she's buying in such vast bulks that it seems redundant. So we're going to go to the next video, the penultimate video of the month, where she answers, did I lie? And increasing my semaglutide dose and going thrifting. Now, I don't care about the thrifting, but I do care if she lied, because this means she gets to give us one of her stellar explanations.
So let's do questions of the day. Why is she squinting when she reads these questions? Amber, go get some glasses. Dr. Lynn over here.
There are two things about your videos that have become quite infuriating. The first is the pointless inflection you're doing at the end of literally every sentence. The second is the fact that I had to troll through that video because there's no most rewatched part anymore to try and find the part that was even mentioned in the title of the video. It was not in there. This video is beyond bait. You are a parody of what you claim to be. So let's get to the last video, and it will go back to a comment Amber had made about not wanting to talk about something that made her emotional, called We Broke Up. I've no idea who she broke up with, but apparently she broke up with someone.
This is Amberlynn, huh? Why do I look so weird? Okay guys, so I've been home for just a little bit, and honestly, this semaglutide, I don't know what's going on, but I feel just not the greatest. Like,
it could be because of heat frustration. I mean, you were out in the sun being, as you called it, hot Lynn.
But I am pretty sad about something, and a lot of you definitely have guessed it. God. I have an easier time admitting when like I fucked something up versus like the person that I was in love with fucking it up. So it's like I just don't even want to like go there, discuss it, talk about it, because it's just like a lot. And I don't know, it's just easier to keep things like this off a line, but like so many of you have guessed it, and I'm just going to keep hurting privately.
I was waiting for the inflection before I decided to cut the rest. Yes, Amberlynn Reid, I believe, has parted ways with Wipey Take 3, Revenge of the Wipes. Amber has, over this month, and yes, I'm going to conclude it now, basically done the same thing. She has baited with the title and left it as an afterthought remark at some random point in the video that no one's even bothered to go and find. Twitter has been more alive with people summarizing your content because of how bad and boring it is. Although, some credit is due, you are doing more things outside, but your weight loss journey is entirely fraudulent and you're not actually accomplishing much at all. Even when it comes to discussing the increasing medical problems you are having, which have been growing quite a bit this year, you haven't managed to turn that into content at all. The easiest way to find the part that has been baited out in your videos is to scroll through the bar timeline for the part where you're stood in front of your books, because that is typically when you decide to drop the part that is most pertinent to the title of the video itself. You're still doing nothing, Amber, and you're not doing anything to improve your health. This month will be divided into two parts. The first part will be the semaglutide Ozempic cheat code failed journey. The second part will be her relationship status that continued on from June, because it turns out her relationship stuff got very juicy, especially towards the end when stuff finally started to come out. In this month, for the first half anyway, I made 2 videos. For the semaglutide journey, I'm going to play that video and then go through updates, if there are any, although let's face it, she made 8 videos this month, with the only parts that got any viewership and traction coming from the videos centering around her relationships. There isn't much in the way of discussion, but we'll go through it anyway. In the second part, I'll play the second video about her relationship status carrying on from June to the middle of July, and then we'll go through the absolute carnage that is her love life. No offense to anyone intended here, but this makes somebody in this all look like a dainty little skank. I'm not going to say who, but somebody. There are a number of arcs going on at once, yet nothing happening at the same time. The non-tent era is still in full swing, even with her mother now being upgraded from a guest star to a recurring character. We're going to quickly address the weight loss journey because this one's being dragged out a bit much. This month she's released 5 videos so far. Well done you, boo. In those videos, she has posted sporadically a weigh-in. Now she had changed it from every day. Even though she wasn't uploading every day, she was uploading every 3 to 4 days, now every other day because of user diminishing significantly, to once every 10 days, citing her regurgitated cycle of excuses. I'm going to play clips from each of those videos where she mentions her weight loss, and I'm going to debunk any of the nonsense that comes out of her mouth. So all of it.
So a little bit of a semaglutide update. I don't know what's going on, but it literally hasn't been working.
This is the part I want to highlight. Ozempic. Amberlynn throughout June lost a fair bit of weight by taking this cheat code, and in the context of Amberlynn Reid, that's exactly what it is. She is not changing her eating habits, nor is she putting any effort in. She is relying on Ozempic to drive the number down, so she cannot change at all. Therefore, what she is doing is a cheat code. So to those who got offended when I do my Moisky Live research streams because I said cheat code, shut the f*** up. There is context to my remark. It is solely and exclusively aimed at this lobcock, this plonker, tosspot, dipshit, whichever you prefer really, and I fully expect her to quit in the near future to save money.
I actually contacted the med spa because like that was massively worrying me, and I was like, what should I do? And they told me to take another beginning dose and then to take another beginning dose in a few days. And something about that, like, I have anxiety when it comes to like medicines and stuff. Like, I'm sure a lot of you know that. Like, I just get really anxious with stuff like that.
She's a hypochondriac, basically. They've given her advice to use her cheat code twice more with a suitable gap between dosages. You're worried that that is going to negatively impact you because of the additional amount of it in your system. Because even though you're willing to pay through the nose to obtain this cheat code, you are unwilling to take full advantage of it, so you can keep on eating far too much. You want to be a dainty girl, but you are unwilling to do anything to make it so. By the way, I still maintain if you come off Ozempic, you'll be one of the very first to not only have failed it the first time, but to have failed it twice. There aren't many people who can say they failed on Ozempic. There are even less people who can say it twice. Probability has no memory, but probability is still not on your side.
And it's like, when I increased my dose this last Saturday, like, I felt so sick, like, the whole Sunday. Like, it was really bad. We're not going to go into detail, but there's a lot of TMI, so just imagine.
I took the liberty of looking up the long-term effects of using Ozempic or the knockoffs. If you have too much, you could have hypoglycemia, okay? If you are on it for too long, it could cause or increase GI-related side effects, such as nausea, bloating, or the diarrhea. That's interesting to me, that. And that's because it slows down digestion, which leaves you feeling fuller for longer. But as we know from you being the daintiest of dainty, this doesn't work on you. Apparently there is a weight limit. The quarter-ton princess, or close to, is one of the few people who can still eat while she's on Ozempic.
So I was like expecting the rest of the week, like, for me to feel a little bit better, but like to not have my appetite and stuff. But I've just been so hungry.
This could be because of one of those side effects I mentioned. Once you evacuate a part of your body, satiety does tend to kick in. Because if your body has just forced everything through and it's not fully digested, yes, I can understand satiety becomes a problem. Changing what you eat does in fact help you here. Saves you. You don't though. No, you're too above that. You're removed from it. You are the future empress of mankind and all that. Your golden throne, though, is a toilet. And it is definitely not made of gold. No, it's made of obsidian.
So by taking even more, I was afraid that, like, I was going to have those TMI symptoms again, and that I was going to feel super sick. And, like, I don't know, like, I'm really getting into my head right now. And it's like, I told myself I was going to be super transparent on this journey. But currently, semaglutide is not working for me, and I don't know what's going on.
I can tell you what's going on based on the content you've produced. Well, the minimal amount of it you've put into content that you've produced, because you don't really show us much of your day. You show us a few minutes from each day, and then follow it up with, so it's the next day. Simply put, you are not making an effort. For Ozempic to benefit your body, like any fat burner, you have to work with it. Ozempic needs to be complemented, or semaglutide in your case. You have to work with it, which means you have to work out, which means you have to do more, which means you have to reduce your eating habits. These are things you won't do. You'll show us going out, usually to go and get food, or go to Target, or Walmart, and if there's a cheesecake factory, there too. Change can only be implemented if you work with what is there to help you. You're putting money into something because you want it to take you there without you having to try. Again, cheat code, Amberlynn Reid edition. I still think you should go to the gym and start there.
I have had the syringes for weeks now. So I don't know if, like, pre-filled syringes, like, they lose, like, potency.
The only way those needles will lose any potency is if they're not refrigerated. As I know for a fact you're not that stupid, that is not the case. So I can happily exclude that option for you. I can instead tell you it's because you are not doing anything. It has plateaued because you are not helping it. In the words of Papa Swolio,
you gotta give him that huck.
Go to the f***ing gym. Go to the f***ing gym. Go to the f***ing gym.
As time goes on, but either way, I do need to buy a new vial soon. So maybe when I buy a new vial, like, it'll start working again. But I am just, like, so hungry. This
is where Amberlynn's logic, because she's renowned for this, comes into full effect. She believes that the best of it is at the top of the vial because it separates. I don't think that's how it works. It's more of a concentrate, but alright, apparently it has different gravities within it and separates like a cocktail drink.
All the time. And I'm just like, damn. So I don't really know. I don't really know the next steps, what to do, and it is a little frustrating because I was just feeling so good, but week 5 and 6 has just been horrendous, and that's just me being honest.
What's interesting is week 5 and 6 means there's been a 10th day, but she had not provided a weigh-in to show us how horrendous this really has been. Although if the TMI is to be believed based on symptoms I earlier mentioned, chances are she may have lost a little bit of weight as well, but then she mentioned her hunger There is no way she could ever stave off her hunger. Amberlynn is known for liking her food, regardless of her health. Although it is worth adding, if she had lost any weight because of the TMI, she would have bragged about it being weight loss regardless and would not have shared that. She would have instead said, "Dainty Queen down to the 470s or 460s, we're on the right track." Yeah, this is what we're dealing with, folks. Her non-tent era, that is the extent of it mentioned in that video. Interestingly though, Amber does say something in the follow-up video to this that has led many to believe that this is why Ozempic may not be working for her, you know, on top of her eating mountains of food and not telling the truth about it.
Thoughts on people saying that you're quitting semaglutide rather than it just not working for you. So semaglutide obviously does not work for everybody, and it did work for me when I was on the lowest dose. The first 4 weeks was literally magic. Then once week 5 happened, I really don't know what happened, but it just like stopped working. And then I was just hoping that like once I increased the dose that it would start working again, and it hasn't. So a lot of times if semaglutide doesn't work for someone, you just move on to the next one. There's also compounded Mounjaro, so obviously that's another option for me.
For those who don't know, compounded Mounjaro is a medication currently FDA approved for individuals with type 2 diabetes to improve their blood sugar control. Please do not get that. Those with type 2 diabetes require it more than you do. We've already discussed why it's failed for you, because it's only possible to fail on Ozempic because you suck. You have to tweak your diet and exercise to address metabolic issues, and of course you have additional problems like side effects from other medications that may well impact or inhibit Ozempic or semaglutide's effectiveness. Yes, I know the research, I'm not stupid. But on to the reason she thought Ozempic wasn't working for her.
Are you still not smoking?
Now, she quit vaping, smoking in general. She quit it because it helped her to control her urges. She felt that by restraining herself or learning to control herself, this would be a great way to allow for her body to become anew, like a phoenix born out of lard.
Actually, I did start vaping again. I did. I told you guys that me quitting vaping was not going to be a forever thing. I like really warned you guys of that. But I didn't vape for like 7 weeks, and I'm very proud of that accomplishment, but I was missing it, and now I vape again. For those of you who don't know, I do not vape nicotine. It's not nicotine, so don't worry about that. It is Delta 8, which probably isn't the greatest thing either, but whatever.
If that stuff by chance gives you the munchies, I'm not going to be remotely surprised, because it doesn't take much to compromise you. We've seen you on those buzzballs and those white claws. Now, as far as Amberlynn's weigh-ins and weight semaglutide journeys go, that's about it for July. There are some bits here and there, but it's really not worth addressing. The next part of this story shall focus on her relationships, which up until the end of July and going into August gets incredibly messy. Hello everyone, this video is a direct follow-up to Wednesday's video. She ended the month of June by talking about a breakup. For those who follow Amber, she has been talking about seeing somebody for a while, claiming that they bought her gifts at Christmas, or Moistmas as we call it here. Valentine's Day, in fact, as well. What separated this wipey, though, from previous wipies, including, what was her name? YP2 Electric Boogaloo, the one she used to live with in whatever state she was last in, was it Kentucky? There, is that this one was never in videos. You never heard anything about them, you never saw anything about them. This is completely different. Now, this could be an indicator that Amber learnt the lessons of Destiny and Becky and removed her partner from the content, but as we saw with the non-tent era, as it's still in full swing, she needs a muse in her videos or she suffers.
Minus that, like, I've had a really good day with friends and family, but I am pretty sad about something, and a lot of you definitely have guessed it. God. I have an easier time admitting when, like, I something up versus, like, the person that I was in love with it up. So it's like, I just don't even want to, like, go there, discuss it, talk about it, because it's like a lot, and I don't know, it's just easier to keep things like this off a line, but like so many of you have guessed it.
The fascinating thing about this, the lead up, right, is Amber doesn't want to tell you what's happened because that's what she does in a lot of her content. She wants to do it on her terms. This is her terms but not her terms, which is a rather unusual thing for a vlogger to do. On her TikTok, she posted what you're seeing on the screen being looped. I would include the audio, but all her content at present is her pulling the exact same facial expression, lip-syncing some crap. It's beyond cringe at this point. And what the Fraggle Rock are aura points? Since you've cheated on people in the past, I am very curious about that.
And I'm just going to keep hurting privately, and I'm just gonna let it stay that way because I don't want to sit here and talk about it. I don't. So that's not what's gonna happen on this channel. So I just want to continue being happy, independent as I can be, and sticking to my weight loss.
So this TikTok really doesn't do you any favors. The fact it's still up on your TikTok is another one of those rather fascinating statements of, clearly you're a hypocrite, but you also understand there's no point you deleting it, you may as well milk it. And boy did you milk it with this one video alone. Alluding to, but never directly addressing. Typical Amberlynn Reid at this point in her non-tent era. Trying to make it seem like there's something more going on. It's quite simple really. You're not seeing someone that no one thought you were seeing in the first place.
So I want you guys to know that I am okay. The video about my breakup did go up yesterday, and I'm getting a lot of DMs, and I'm good. I've had a lot of people say, just spill the tea, because we don't know Valentine's real name. We know nothing about Valentine, and that is very true.
To be honest, there is much about that person we know nothing about. The same can be said for the predecessor, right?
In my last serious relationship, it was with Feline, and you guys know a little bit more of her because she would talk in my videos. You'd see her hands, her legs, body parts. So there was a little bit more like personal to personal with you guys in that regard. How did you guys meet? Did you guys meet in person? So she actually messaged me on Instagram back in September, and we always had like a flirty thing. We always had crushes on each other, and then it wasn't until I would say December, January, where my feelings started to get super deep while hers was already there. It took me a hot minute to get to that point, and then it was February 14th to be exact. She asked to be my girlfriend, and no, we never met in person, but we would video call every single day.
I'm going to pick my words very carefully here because I don't want someone to misunderstand this. But are you saying that your crush, your Valentine, is somebody you never met in person? You also mentioned that you did video chat, so I guess this could be argued to remove, as a point, the argument of catfishing. Although since you do the fat girl photo angles all the time, yes, I noticed, you are definitely a catfisher.
I knew that she loved me a lot, but there was a lot of things that she did lie to me about. This is where it's like, I mainly don't want to share these things because I'm embarrassed that I had someone who loved me that hard but would lie to me and betray me and do the things they did to me. Like, I just feel embarrassed to even admit it. So it's like, I don't even want to go there. But let's just say, like, she hurt me pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna intentionally leave that part of the conversation so we can move on to another part, because we're gonna circle back to this clip in a bit. You'll understand why. Consider it foreshadowing.
Have you spoken to Valentine since you broke up? After we broke up, we wanted to try being friends, but that did not work out at all. The last time that I talked to her was like maybe 2 weeks ago, but the last time she contacted me was she sent me a screenshot of a TikTok I posted, and she was pretty upset about it.
I'm going to go ahead and assume it is this one, because let's face it here, you clearly wanted to talk about it, but you've used Valentine to make some content at Valentine's expense.
Are you talking to someone new? Yes, I am.
All the information I could be bothered to give you from those two videos is now here. We're going to continue the relationship discussion because, as I stated earlier, this is going to spiral, and, well, Amber's going to get a lot of heat and a lot of dislikes. Dislikes I haven't seen at this level for years. That Belgian contingent from 2023 couldn't save this. This is Jojo Siwa light territory. On the 19th of July 2024, Amberlynn Reid's Instagram was Tommy's girl, queen, she, her. The thing about Amberlynn, and it's something everyone likes to highlight especially, is that when she dates somebody, that person becomes her personality. She bases her life around them while they are subservient to her. Tommy is somebody else. We're going to have to talk about them, aren't we? We'll get there. We don't like to skip ahead. Let's do this properly. On the 22nd of July 2024, in one of Amberlynn Reid's delightful vlogs, non-tent videos, a few images did their rounds. And it's the teenage girl thing, which many have pounced on because Amber, whenever she dates someone new, she loves to show off the hickeys. Nobody actually cares about them, but she knows it gets a lot of attention. So she will intentionally lift her head up and tilt it to the side so they become more pronounced. She'll tie her hair up in a bun so they are the focal point. You are less paying attention to what she says, and her content itself goes out the window in favour of, "Why you got that, skank? Also, you're in your 30s, really? Come on." Not me, by the way. I don't care. It's just a point. She acts like a teenage girl with zero class. On the 23rd of July, courtesy of Amber's TikTok, we actually got to meet the girlfriend. The video is playing on the screen, and you can quite clearly tell Amber's type. She has dated the same type of person every single time. I'm not going to make the points beyond that. She has a type, and they're all the same. This one, though, well, people did a little digging. If Amberlynn's mother's criminal record was a bit much for Amber, she must have surely known people were going to look into this person. This person's a feeder. This person, 2 months earlier, spoke at the funeral of their partner. And now they're, was it 90 days? It might have been 90 days earlier. I don't think it makes much of a difference, really. Her partner, the deceased, rest in peace, weighed quite a bit. Because Tommy, I think this is Tommy, right, is a feeder. Seriously, I've already said it. She legitimately is. So when we hear that, or see that Amberlynn is not posting any health updates, there's a reason why. Because she was, at this point, dating somebody who is highly poisonous to Amber's health. If Amber became bedbound, this person would be there for it. I know the video's been played on loop for a while, but let's face it here. You need to see this person and see how much of a sucker Amberlynn Reid is. This caused enough of a storm that Amberlynn's comments got turned off on the last 4 uploads on her channel for the month of July. The dislikes reflected this, some reaching as high as 12,000. Now, because of the backlash, because of the instantaneous volatile response from her audience and from those who genuinely were concerned for Amber's well-being, Amber responded in video form but also community post. In community post form, Amberlynn said, "There are multiple communities that watch my videos, but there's one in particular that likes to see me miserable, so they go to large lengths to do so. In the most recent events in my life, I decided to share someone special to me, but by doing that a lot of bad has happened because of it, when all I wanted to do was share my happiness. My girlfriend's late partner was doxxed. Doxing is never okay, especially in this kind of situation. I will never share personal details, but the rumours being spread about her and my girlfriend are not true at all. The doxing, the harassment, the hate, the bullying, ... It is all way too much for me, let alone 2 people who do not deserve it whatsoever. This has completely altered my life and now my girlfriend's life. I know this will land on ears of people who do not give a crap about what I'm saying, but if you have a heart at all, leave my girlfriend and her late partner out of it. Talk all the poop about me that you want. I really don't care, but they do not deserve this. You turn the comments off on your videos. I don't think people can actually say anything to bother you because you're blocking it out. Your sensitivity levels have gone through the roof, it seems, Amber. This is interesting. It's drama. It's delicious. Now, when it comes to the concern around doxing of somebody who is no longer on this mortal coil, I don't believe people are acting in that way to maliciously go for that person. They were going to you to say you may want to consider dating someone else because this person is not good for you. They are clearly a feeder. If you cannot tell that or are unwilling to accept that or do something to help yourself, then it is of course all on you. But they, those haters and those of world, are just trying to look out for you. You, however, did not take this well at all, so we should probably get to the video part of this as well.
So I might get emotional and I really don't want to. I have been doing my fair share of crying. I'm just having like genuinely a hard time.
I can promise you, even with the comments turned off, the court of public opinion have seen you cry far too much in your videos of late, up to this point. Every time one relationship goes awry, or you're the third wheel and you're okay with it, yet you're simultaneously not. You wouldn't know anything about that though, right? Because you're dainty girl and good girl, right? You don't, partake in infidelity, or encourage it with someone you're dating whilst claiming you knew nothing about it. But do continue with this one, and the Tommy era.
As you guys know, I met my girlfriend in person, and for the lack of a better word, it was just magical, truly magical. I posted her on my Instagram, and I can't even tell you how much support we got. It was a lot. Majority of you are literally the sweetest, ever. So thank you, from the both of us, truly. People ruin it. They absolutely ruin it, without a doubt.
Now, Amber spends the remainder of this video gaslighting her audience and her haters, downplaying the concern they had with regards to the person she had chosen as a suitor, because that person has a history that raises alarm bells for somebody who is trying to lose weight, when they're dating somebody who has, been with someone who has passed away, tragically of course, that weighed a lot more than Amber did. That concern is being downplayed in this entire video because this new suitor, this bae with the biting skills to pay the bills, this bae must be protected, so audience must be punished and told it's their fault because they hate her so much, even though Amber's entire career and success comes from being hated. She wouldn't have what she has now if she were not so disliked in the online space. Without the internet, she is nothing. Now, she did follow this video up with, "It's over." That's where we're going now, because honestly, it is mwah, 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 chef's kisses.
Hi guys, I look like crap because I feel like crap. I really don't even know what to say, but you guys don't know the full story at all.
The fun thing here is there's a theory already that Amber is still at this point with Tommy, but Tommy has been relegated to behind the scenes for the time being. Amber is merely milking this for additional viewership, which, to be honest, I understand. I understand because Amber needs these kind of views. This video alone, for example, got 109,000 views within 6 days of its release. It is the penultimate video she released in this month, and these video views are the kind of views she needs. Controversy is what she requires. If she can't get it from world, even though they are trying to help her a little here, I say a little, then she will instead attack them and seek to find a way to blame them for everything. Even though, since she keeps most of this all offline in the first place, it's not so hard to believe that this is still going on.
And I think that's the hardest part of this whole thing is there is a big part of this story missing, but I'm never going to sit there and talk about other people's personal things because that's not me, that's not who I am. But because of this, me and now my ex, we are not together anymore, and this has left her debilitated. But because of this, me and now my ex, we are not together anymore.
Did she just point? I didn't notice this when I was filming, because when I'm filming, I'm like, right, quick, try and think of something funny to say. But here, watch. Did you see a motion towards the left? Watch.
Because of this, me and now my ex, we're.
Did you just point over to her ex? She looked at her and then did that. Didn't she?
But because of this, me and now my ex, we are not together anymore, and
now my ex, we're not together anymore.
And it is all the internet's fault. Now, there is one last video Amberlynn released for this month. The video is simply titled, "This has all gone way too far." And yet again, Amber is putting on the crocodile tears like she has in the previous 2 videos to drum up as much interest as possible. It's why her dislikes in these 3 videos were so high. It is an impressive number for somebody that doesn't usually get near 10k on dislikes. To get consistently this many speaks volumes about how much horse crap you have to be talking and how badly you must believe your own lies.
a lot is happening and it's super overwhelming. I don't know, it's just so much is being said, and I know legal terms love to be thrown around, like slander, defamation. 9 times out of 10, people don't really know what they're talking about.
While you are trying to speak in some form of Valley Girl riddle, which is an infuriating accent, I don't know. The rest of us have just been speaking quite clean and plain to you. You're trying to act coy and interesting. I promise you it's not. The fact is, Tommy's a feeder, and you love yourself a feeder.
Recently, there is a lot of slander. There is a lot of defamation. Like, there's a difference between, like, gossiping versus, like, downright, straight up defamation, lies, completely making up stories that aren't true at all.
If that's the case, Amber, why don't you now tell us the truth? From your Lorelyn Reid lips, you tell us the truth and provide evidence to debunk it. This is where your inability to do so will come up, because you can say something, but you won't support it in any way. You will say it or state it as if it should be a fact and therefore taken as listen and believe. I have never operated under that mantra and never will. If you cannot prove your girlfriend, sorry, ex, but totally current girlfriend at this point, Tommy, isn't a feeder, I will take it back. But at this point, no one believes you've broken up and everyone believes she is a feeder and you're living for it. Because Cheesecake Factory's back on the menu and Amber needs her orange chicken.
I honestly feel pathetic. I feel triggered. I feel just like YouTube is ruining my life. Like, truly ruining my life. And I have gone through a lot with YouTube. I've gone through a lot.
Firstly, YouTube made your life. You wouldn't in fact be where you are if it were not for YouTube and the vast amounts of money you had made in the past. Shut up. Second, you are quite right, you have gone through a lot of food, Ozempic, semaglutide and Lurol. Oh, and other medications you more than likely didn't need. All the things you own because you got a job online that paid better than any job you could ever have in your real life. Can you tell me you'd be better off if you'd stayed, say, with Destiny and didn't pursue YouTube back then but worked in an office? And stop with the crocodile tears, because no one cares if it's triggering. For you, problematic, fact cares little for morals, conscience, or your feelings. If you cannot provide the fact, then you can carry on crying. It's not going to change anything, Am.
That was the biggest thing. Valentine isn't real. Valentine isn't real. And I accepted it for what it was.
Wait, this isn't about Tommy? Are we really going back to Valentine? Is Valentine the one grifting right now for clicks because of you? I'd heard about this person. I did think they were fake as well and that you were buying the gifts for yourself, I'll admit. I believed that because you are a known liar. Well, now you've piqued my interest. I guess as we're here, we get to go to the Twitters where there's been much in the way of speculation. For example, courtesy of Gorlor World Lurker, we have some DM exchanges. Erica, allegedly at this point, I cannot confirm because it's July, is Valentine, and Salty Crab on their YouTube channel did a stream titled I Know Who Amberlynn's Ex Valentine Erica Is. Alex is shook tweeted Valentine leaking because Amber said her name is just Chef's Kiss. She'll never learn, although I think she wanted to leak her and no, it is not Tommy, or she is not Tommy. And a user called 1472 Kelly, Erica aka Valentine, has been found supposedly with a clip to accompany. And yes, in this you can quite clearly tell still, Amber's got a very obvious type.
And what I'm about to tell you about her and Amberlynn's relationship is what I have been told, and just like with the game telephone, anytime you hear something secondhand, there could be small details that are wrong. However, I believe everything I'm about to tell you actually happened. So Erica messaged Amberlynn first, and that is how the whole relationship got started. They talked constantly and FaceTimed each other, but they never met. Erica never wanted to go visit Amberlynn, mostly because she was in fact married. But she was telling Amberlynn that she was going to move in with her in August. She never had any intentions of doing so. This is just what she was saying to Amberlynn. The relationship ended because Erica broke up with Amberlynn, and the reason was because of Amberlynn's BPD. Now, Amberlynn, as you might imagine, did not take this well, and apparently she started blowing up Erica's phone, calling over and over and over, texting over and over, and Erica's wife noticed this, and that is why Erica's wife called Amberlynn, and that is how Amberlynn found out Erica was married. Apparently, Amberlynn also sent Erica nudes of herself.
So when Amber does a video getting all high and mighty that I showed you earlier in the relationship video when she was dabbing on Erica, it seems a bit misplaced really, doesn't it? Now to conclude this month, because this is actually right at the end of the month, some of this does bleed into August, I know, but we're not going to do that. Amber's month has been remarkably out of focus. I doubt she'll stay away from YouTube for long. She needs the money. Amber's relationship love life is a fraud, a joke, a parody of what a relationship should be, because to her everything has to be cute and in place and done the right way. While she wants to keep it offline, she desperately needs it online. And I don't think anyone thinks she's not with Tommy at this point. There have been accusations levied at some of the exes concerning grifting or for clicks and donations. That's a separate issue, and if any of it features in August, we might address it then. So August 2024 is an interesting month for Amberlynn Reid. It's an interesting month because at time of recording on the 14th of September 2024, there was not a single video released during this month. Not a joke. Some of her videos in July were recorded earlier in July, meaning she had taken about 6 weeks off. I wonder why. Some of that will be discussed in September when we get to her weight loss journey, everyone. We still have stuff to go through. I just want to highlight there is not a single video on her YouTube channel. The first thing we should go through is the fact that Amberlynn Reid is a bit of a third wheel skank. The story concerning Erica and others continued from July. Exes, Valentine, and Valentine's wife spoke out. That was covered by apathetic facts. It can be argued safely Erica was in the wrong because she was the one who vowed loyalty to her wife, quote from Shenanigans. Amber, though, was loving the fact that she was being the other woman. She loved being the third wheel and the secret. It was also discussed that she had lied, by many in fact, about breaking up with, was it Tommy? The feeder. Yeah, that one. Well, they didn't break up because Tommy was in the room when Amber had announced that in July, when someone pointed out that Amber was legitimately pointing at Tommy, saying, "We've broken up." Bish? No. Another thing highlighted by many within world was the fact that Amberlynn talks about knowing her worth, right? She said that when she and Feline broke up, yet she was quite content in the knowledge that she could continue being a third wheel within a married couple's life, with only one of them knowing about it. And I should point out, not one person in any of these situations where Amber always appears to have someone on the side, ready to play as a card, not one of them is remotely likeable. And I think Danielle had been exposed on Reddit, although I can't find the post, had been exposed because they've been asking for money to tell the story or tell stories going back a bit of, well, time. Yeah, this is dirty. Makes Amber look like filth, which she is, because there's no one there to wipe her. YouTuber Apathetic Facts did put out a near 40-minute video going through Erica, aka Valentine's, statements on the subject. I will stand by what I've said. No one in this looks good. Amber has a very clear and obvious type of girls that look like guys. No offense intended if you're her type, but you know what I mean. And Amber is a skank. Imagine my shock. But I will play one clip from it of a phone call between Brittany and Amber. Isn't Brittany Erica's wife?
So I kind of skimmed through the text.
Yeah, I understand that. I would have done the same thing.
Like, do you know how demented it is to tell somebody that's married not to have sex with their spouse? Like, do you know how crazy that sounds?
Like I said, I thought you guys were just married for financial reasons.
You really need help. Like, you really need help.
Probably.
Now, where I did say Amber didn't make any videos, that doesn't mean Amberlynn was not active. You see, Amber did do some things here and there. Her comments are still turned off and you can't see the dislike anymore. But Amber did live stream on her main channel, and it can to an extent be argued she did better from live streaming than she does from videos, views for which did quite well over the month. A less is more approach benefits her. it can also then be argued Amberlynn is actually doing something, as opposed to the 3 minutes she puts into for a daily part of these Dear Diaries that would look, well, not out of place on a Wattpad.
What I do today? Shovel food, take a poop, and go bed. I'll record some bits for a vlog to look like I'm doing something. Thank you, diary. Bye.
Basically that. Or was that more Tumblr? Wattpad was your poetry, wasn't it? Yes. Anyway, Amber did 4 streams over the month, and as you can see from the viewership, not too bad. The drama surrounding Erica, the drama around Tommy as well, the feeder, does persist throughout this month to an extent. So do expect some information on that.
So, during one of the videos that she sent me of her touching herself, I saw her wife's slipper in her foot right next to Erica. I'm telling you, like, touching her leg while Erica was touching herself. And I was like, let me rewatch this video.
Does anyone else think that Amber only noticed that after she found out that she was being lied to, apparently? Okay. And does anyone else think that Amber simply replayed it so she could enjoy it? We'll get to the cake discussion later, don't worry. Additionally, there's been much in the way of discussion concerning Erica's wife because they're a therapist, which has led to the belief that there may be some kind of social experiment at play here. This feels like 4D chess. No one involved is smart enough. Alright? I'm not convinced they could play 2D drafts or checkers for the low IQ.
Is there an ad? Press 1 if you guys hear me, see me, all that, because I just don't know if there's an ad. Oh, okay. There is an ad. I don't understand this ad thing. I did press to monetize, obviously, because, girl, we're gonna monetize this, the f out of this, because Jordy monetized the f out of my story. That's most reaction channels do.
Amber, you don't need to justify monetizing your content, but there are 3 different settings. I would highly recommend when you're streaming not to go with the opposite of conservative, but knowing you, and your history of inserting ads before they took the ability away, where you did it every other minute, which was absolute ass, I would believe you went very liberal on those ads to get as much out of it as possible. Girls gotta pay them bills, right? But justification that others monetized their criticisms of you. How quaint. Bit of a deflection, though.
I will say, like, Jordy, you missed out on, like, a really good opportunity. I wanted you to just ask me whatever. Like, my adrenaline was so freaking high last night. You could have asked me whatever you wanted about the situation. Like, you really missed out. But you know what? Here we are. Like, I guess I'm gonna get my coin now too. And I hate saying that, it's gross. But this whole situation has left me feeling awful. Awful.
Just the thing, Amber, which makes this to me completely sus, is that you were posting thirst traps about the whole situation before, during, and after. That's what you were doing on TikTok. Thirsty Lynn doing her thirsty best. You were doing that because you didn't mind being the third wheel, whether knowing or not. Yes, they may well be spinning a story and they are definitely crappy people, but you are certainly no better.
I'm Amberlynn Reid, and Erica fell for me.
The one thing I love more than anything about world and the content creators that many of us have covered is that not one of them can ever tell the truth. In that one clip, Amber immediately looked to the side every time they do this, whether it be with some crappy Valley Girl fake accent or because they are straight up lying to try and deflect or try and mask their deception. The problem they have is there's no version of this where these people reached out to her because she is thirsty, hungry, and a bit of a skank.
You lied to me for almost a year about being in a full-fledged marriage that I thought was open. And then by the time you told me that you're in a real-life marriage, I was too up to say bye.
Okay, so Amber, this is the first stream you did in the month of August. You dunked on Geordie because you're angry at Erica because you thought the relationship was open. Why would you want to be in a relationship with someone that's in an open relationship? Why would you want to be sloppy seconds or have sloppy seconds? Do you believe you can pull them away from that? Make this a throuple? You realise you'd be the cuck, right? You'd be dating a gym rat and a therapist. The therapist wouldn't be able to help you, and the gym rat sure as feck wouldn't either. In fact, your best kind of partner is the one that enables you neither of them qualified. Although Tommy does. Tommy is after all a feeder. September will answer some of that.
Like, it's wrong. Like, I hate more than anything blaming my BPD. But if anyone knows a damn thing about it, one thing, especially for me, is that I get a favorite person. I don't know the clinical term for this. I should seek therapy. I understand.
I think you're confusing BPD with OCD, because you are obsessive compulsive and everything you do reeks of disorder. By the way, weren't you at this point also talking to Tommy? Because your timeline is all over the place. Now, this all comes from one live stream, the very first one, trying to clear things up. The tears didn't resonate, but the views were great. Congratulations. I'm glad you made that sweet, sweet coin, because you made no videos, not that you need an excuse not to make videos, and you knew the live stream format was certainly better suited, because you didn't have to do as many to do as well.
I just want to say one thing about Tommy, and this is where it literally ends, because you guys have, like, when I say you guys, obviously I don't mean everybody, but, like, I hate YouTube right now. I hate YouTube right now. I was fully in love with this person. Like, I haven't been happier. But the timeline that y'all have made up is not real. Tommy first messaged me on June 18th. Me and Erica broke up 3 days before that.
For the sake of this end of year review, that is the last clip from that first stream you need to know about, because it absolutely amply demonstrates what she is. She doesn't take time to improve for herself. She goes from relationship to relationship. She is a locust swarm. She harvests. When there is nothing left, she moves on to the next one. The next harvest. That is Amberlynn Reid to a T. She has never been anything else. And this is why, even though she will continue to do this, ultimately, she will always be alone. She may be surrounded by people, but she will be lonely, and it is entirely of her own making. Her obsessive need to couple, or thruple in one instance, because there's no way she didn't know. I promise you that. By the way, Amber made a lot of money on this stream. That can't be denied. She only ended the stream when people started asking her about Tommy being a feeder. She claimed she had anxiety and left. She spent so long repeating herself because she genuinely was milking this, and she milked it to the tune of $928. That's not bad. Can I have that, please? Just please, Gibbs. Oh. Let's move on from this stream and continue the month of August. By the way, someone managed to quite nicely compile a video of how you spoke about Erica at one point and Tommy at another. So I'm going to play that before we continue.
I do love them. They're truly, honestly, one of the most amazing people that I've ever known. Just really want to protect her because her heart is so pure and genuine and beautiful. Like, one of the actual greatest people I've ever known.
Without looking it up, can you tell which one's which? It's a tough one, isn't it? Honestly, Amber, you are not just a skank, you're a loser. Now, during this month, also, Amberlynn's former best friend spoke out against her. On Amberlynn Reid Uncensored, a Facebook group, I think, it says, apparently Alexis ended her friendship with Hamburger with a statement, I just want to publicly announce I've ended my friendship with Amberlynn. If she wants to stay with Tommy, that's fine. I refuse to sit around and watch what will happen if she continues having a relationship with her. This was an extremely hard decision for me to make. But unfortunately, this is just what's best for me. Amberlynn, I hope you understand. I made a video talking about this because Alexis made a number of videos directly responding to questions about Amber and other aspects of Amber's life. I'm going to play that video because it's relevant to this.
So I'm just going to immediately dive into the questions that some of you have asked. So the first question is, was Amber actually taking weight loss seriously for once? And did Emily possibly make her stop doing that?
Now, my view on this was for as long as Amber is single, she takes her health seriously-ish. Serious by the standards of what Amberlynn does. The moment she invests time into another person and adopts their personality and characteristics and traits, if they themselves take their health seriously, I think she gives up on herself because she has a type, somewhat masculine presenting and in healthier shape than she'll ever be in. She then puts her health to one side to focus on them, which is quite handy, really.
I do believe that Amber was trying to take weight loss seriously, but unfortunately, I do think it was because she was talking to Erica, and Erica takes her own weight loss and fitness journey very seriously. I also don't believe that Tommy ever specifically told Amberlynn to stop semaglutide.
Has Amber stopped taking semaglutide? Because now that we know Tommy is in Amber's life, on off but now on, I could imagine Tommy would be the type to tell, because Tommy is clearly a feeder, would tell Amber to stop because she loves you just the way you are.
I just think that Amberlynn knows her preference, and if she doesn't have to put in the work, she won't. Did Amber know about the stuff before Kiwi Farms found it?
Considering I have no idea how Tommy and Amberlynn Reid met in the first place, I could believe the answer to be yes in this instance.
She initially told me that Tommy preferred very, very large women, and she told me that her late fiance was close to 1,000 pounds. I don't know how much Amberlynn actually knew about all of the posts that recently came up, nor do I think she would ever admit to me if she did know everything.
Amberlynn Reid vlogs for approximately 3 minutes of every day. She has 23 hours 57 minutes to do whatever she likes. Many of us believe she spends most of that day watching crap TV, doing scratch art, hanging out with her mother, and consuming vast quantities of food to maintain her weight. I could believe, at some point in all of that, she did the necessary research into this person, because Amber falls in love hard. They move in quick, and then it's happily ever after for a time. I can believe Amber knows everything already, and is okay with it, because now she's got someone that she doesn't have to lose weight for, because this person wants her to be, well, bedbound.
Have you ever caught ALR out in a lie?
For the sake of this video, you don't actually need to answer this, because if you haven't, we'd be very impressed, since the majority of us on the internet have caught her out in a lie. I've caught her out in lies while live on air, so my very organic response has been very, let's call it, visceral.
I have caught her in many. Are you still in touch with Jade? No, but I wish I was.
Is Jade Feline, or is Jade another one? This is where I get names really confused because I'm terrible with remembering names. Anyone's names, in fact. Online names, easy enough. Offline and IRL, no chance.
How come Amber claims Jade's toxic and blank behavior if she kept hooking up with Jade after the breakup?
Well, this one's easy. The reason why is because Amber is a creature of habit. She desperately has to be in a relationship at all times. It's why when she moved to the Sooner state, I was genuinely surprised she said she was going to try and be single for a while, and then she undid it within, I think it was 2 months. The single era of the non-tent era, an umbrella term for the past 3.5 to 4 years of her content, where views are going down and people are only interested when she makes more poor decisions, which we fully expect to be exploited in the near future, because it's Amberlynn Reid. It's what she does.
Did it hurt that Amber dismissed your BPD during her live? Were we even supposed to know that? When she gets like this was pretty cruel. We're supposed to care about her BPD, but only hers. I don't really care. It's not like a secret that I also struggle with my mental health, but unlike Amber, I have actually taken the time to be alone and work on myself.
The amusing thing is, Amber had a chance to properly learn about this for herself, so she could be herself, but instead she chose to find a way out because it was easier for her to do that than simply do stuff for herself. Also, a lot of her diagnoses came from WebMD, and from her simply saying she has it. There is another creator on this platform who I've covered quite recently and quite a lot, who faked cancer. I'm somewhat surprised with Amber's repeated diagnoses that she has self-done, that she hasn't been held to a similar standard just yet by the wider sphere of YouTube. Give it time though, and I'm sure things will change, if she's still relevant in a couple years.
And not just Chat AI and WebMD. Wow. Does she support her friends financially? Example, does she send Eric and Ricky money? Did she pay for Emily, plane ticket, rental car, etc. when she visited Oklahoma City? Do I think it's possible that she paid for, Emily's plane ticket? Sure. Do I think she's financially supporting her friends? Absolutely not.
I always held the belief that when they shared a house together, Amber was paying for virtually everything at that time, but I can't imagine Amber still doing it. It would seem a bit redundant since we see nothing of Eric and the other, whose name I've forgotten already. Yeah, this is how good I am with names. Now, in this segment, Lex explains that when she was working 3 jobs, Amber never offered to help, even though she knew she was struggling. I'm not surprised by this. Cheesecake Factory is not exactly cheap for the dainty queen with her regular order.
Does she have any friends in Oklahoma City? Why doesn't she try to find girlfriends in her own state ever? Why does she always look for love on TikTok? Yes, she does, and he seems actually very nice. But was he a viewer before they met? Yes. I also have never talked to him, and I'm not really sure what his true intentions were messaging her. But he does get to hang out with Amberlynn's mom, and I'm kind of jealous of that.
The reason this question exists is because many have been calling into question the validity of the claims Amber has that she has any friends in Oklahoma, not least because none of them have ever featured her content. But there is a level of shrewdness to that, because if Amber had any of her friends in her videos, they would be immediately doxxed, and more than likely their lives torn apart by the online forums that loathe her existence and her repeated poor decisions. Not just there, by the way, it would also be Twitter and her own comments section and TikTok. TikTok Lynn is still thirst posting. It's kind of tragic.
Has she been trolled by other people like Erica thinking they were dating? Yeah. Her main one was Danielle. I mean, she was in love with this girl. Aww. And I can actually understand why, because she's incredibly attractive. This girl also said a lot of the right things that made Amberlynn kind of hooked. And she would do the inconsistent reassurance with her and be like totally in love with her one day and then like really all about her pre-existing partner the next day.
Now, this particular answer from Lex gets quite interesting. It gets interesting because she goes on to talk about how Amber was juggling multiple relationships at once and didn't care if someone was married. If she liked you and wanted you, she wanted you. So in earlier videos in Amberlynn's July, where she called out stuff about marriage and, got really upset about that, it seemed a bit hypocritical in the context of what we now know from her former bestie.
Is there any part of you that feels bad for betraying Amberlynn's trust? Like when you think back on all the talks you two had when everything was good, did you ever think you would betray her? Honestly, yeah. I do feel bad, and I do miss her a lot. And even though she kind of brushed me off sometimes or just wanted to talk about herself or whatever, I definitely do miss her.
Now, of course, that's your humanity showing and your totally valid opinion. Nothing wrong with that in the slightest. You cherish that friendship and then she stabbed you in the back. That's what happened. So you feel guilty for doing this. Don't forget here, we've had Casey, we've had Destiny, we've had Becky, all speak their piece. You're a friend though, not an ex-partner. People are starting to be more vocal about this, and you should be more vocal. If Amber's willing to throw you under the bus in her content, whether that be TikToks or YouTube videos, or streams, more notably in this case, then you should be allowed your voice. There are of course many aspects to this, but there's one thing right at the end of this particular answer you give. I want to play before we get to the next question.
I feel like I got to see a side of her that nobody else gets to see, but now I'm starting to realize that it was probably all fake.
Yeah, that bit's telling, isn't it?
Is she secretly friends with Zachary Michael? He seems to be protecting her a little too much these days. Honestly, I think that he's just really good at seeing things for what they are, and Amberlynn is not always delusional or in the wrong, but most of the time, yeah.
I have seen a number of videos on Amber's channel where she has put Zachary Michael in the title. Now, it has been a bit of a clickbaity thing, talking about Fortnite or friendships with Zachary Michael, in fact. It was clickbait. Barely a mention, longer than a second. I don't truly believe that they are friends, but I can believe they are on professional good terms. Well, professional within this sphere of the internet, that is. Zachary Michael does sometimes bat for Amber when things don't look as clear-cut, because he's not as black-pilled, perhaps he's not been poisoned as much. Sometimes a little humanity is required. I do still think, though, generally speaking, Amber is wrong about nearly everything she does. but that's just my opinion, because I'm a bit more of a prat. I'm going with safer profanities so I don't get demonetized.
I'd like to know what your partner thinks of Amber and your friendship with her. First off, I just want to give a public service announcement that my partner goes by they, them pronouns. So if anybody mentions them in any videos, I would pretty much expect you to use their proper pronouns.
I'll reduce this one down. They got on all right.
Until Amberlynn started sending nudes and showing me her full conversations with Erica and all of the nudes that they exchanged.
Okay, so this is an important public service announcement I now need to make. Amberlynn Reid privately has shared nude images of, I believe, herself, conversations with another person with Lex, and that included naked imagery. Now, from a moral standpoint, this falls within a category I cannot abide. Amber has done something she should not have done, ever. I cannot, will not, shall not defend Amber in that. If Lex shares any of it in the online space, I will have to call Lex out as well. And I will do that, because it falls within a category called revenge, PORN. I can't abide that. Another point of interest is that Amber was exchanging naked imagery of herself with Erica. Now this is intriguing. I would assume it was a camera set up on a tripod with a 30-second delay so she can get into place. Beyond that though, that is the only joke I intend to make on this subject, because again, when you send exchange messages like that with each other, you share it with another person, you've committed what I believe to be a crime.
Did you notice ALR adopting your personality and mannerisms when you became friends? Yes. Half of her isms right now are literally mine. Except I don't know where she got this hectic word from, so don't come for me for that. Because I didn't do that.
I find it funny that Amber in her content does a lot of Valley Girl inflections. If we now know they came from you, I'm not saying you should be cancelled, but I do firmly believe in a stockade and a load of rotten tomatoes. Jokes aside, it's often amusing to me how busy Amber in her content tries to make herself seem like she's being, when in reality, she films for 3 to 5 minutes a day on her phone. I remember years ago she moaned about using her phone, or used her phone exclusively, showed us how she did it when she had access to SLR cameras. Was it SLRs? You know what I mean, she had decent cameras, she never used them, she used the iPhone, because she's one of those crapple folk. And I'm not surprised your ex-partners, current partners, were not fond of some of the language used by Amber when in conversation publicly with yourself. It runs a risk of poisoning the relationship you have for the sake of maintaining the friendship, when really a form of evolution, adaptation, should take place.
But the randomly busting out in a country accent thing that she's been doing, that is me. Is Amber a to her girlfriends? I've said this before and I'll say this again, but it takes two to tango. But I know if I ever dated Amberlynn, I think I definitely would be taking a really long grippy sock vacation afterwards.
While I can agree that it takes two to tango in many relationships, some are one-way streets after all, it should be pointed out in my country we go with manipulative and coercive behaviour as a form of DV. Amber is the queen of manipulative and coercive behaviour. A lot of her partners in the past were either very young or very submissive types, simple types, no offence to those who qualify, but in retrospect, hindsight, that is often how it can be perceived. Her ability to control other people is sublime. Well, it was then. I'm not entirely sure what it is these days, y'all.
Has she ever told you why she lies on YouTube all the time? Probably because, liars lie.
That, and I also believe that a lot of what Amber does on the internet can be regarded as a form of character. You've mentioned in this video Amber is not the same person away from this as she is online, and she doesn't really share the parts of her that she probably should share, to be honest. You know, the honest part of her. So I could believe she lies not because liars lie, but because Amberlynn is putting it on as part of her persona.
Amber said Tommy has a great job. If that's true, why did she and her ex have to do blank blank for money? Did Tommy and her ex ever live together? I'm really not a super huge fan of discussing the deceased, but I literally don't know. Also, Tommy's job is like not this big spectacular ordeal, but I'm not going to speak on it because Tommy is a mother and I don't want her to lose her job because I care about the well-being of her child.
This is a respectable stance to take when it comes to somebody having children and having to pay to keep that child fed, clothed, and so on. I'm not as knowledgeable on the subject of the feeder content they may or may not have had to do. I know it is a hot topic, or has been a hot topic, on the internet, certainly on Twitter, but my timeline is mostly filled with UK riots, so I've tried not to pay too much attention to that aspect. In truth, while I'm not overly fond of Amber dating a feeder, because I do believe that is harmful to her health if she intends to take it seriously, ultimately the decision's on her, so it isn't my place to then dive into that person she's now dating's past. I just know they're a feeder from what I've already seen, and Amber has made this decision for herself. The consequences will be hers, and we'll certainly get into that with the end of year review this year.
And I'm not gonna lie, that kind of makes me nervous because if Amberlynn doesn't get the help that she has always needed, I do fear that something as small, well, not small, but, you know, something like pneumonia could also be the reason for her passing away.
If you look beyond the poison that many like to spew in this area, there is legitimate concern for Amberlynn's health when with or surrounded by the wrong types of people. But I will stand by what I've always said. She is an adult, she's not much younger than me. She is well within her right to make these poor decisions and live for as long as she can live with the consequences for that. I do believe the choice she has made is a conscientious one, entirely built out of selfishness rather than healing, so the selfishness will lead to a shorter lifespan.
Erica claims Amber made jokes about being the other woman. Did she do the same with you? How did she justify being with a married woman? Yeah, she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. She also, for the longest time, said that Erica was only with her wife for financial reasons, and they don't live together, and her wife has another partner that she lives with, and essentially it's just like an open marriage. And then one day she sent me a picture of a toy on Erica's dresser, and apparently she took a screenshot of it like while they were on FaceTime and confronted Erica about it, and Erica like I guess lied about it at first, but then she was like, oh well, of course, like that's my wife, like of course we have. Amber was really upset.
So for the end of year review month of July 2024 segment that I've made recently, in fact, I had to address this because it all happened right at the end of the month. The cheating, the not cheating, whether Amber knew or didn't know. The part that really intrigued me was whether or not Erica was actually into this or not. And so when you have heard, which we have earlier, that Lex has seen all the messages between the two of them and the fact they exchanged nudes, you have to wonder whether or not Erica really means when Erica says they were not as invested or not, because they fully committed to sending pictures of themselves along with very intimate messages, text messages, to accompany. So, not even a grey area, yet treated as if it could be. Not by Lex or the online space, but by Erica. That's not to say Amber's in the clear here, by the way, because there were queries about whether or not Amber knew earlier or not. According to Lex in this, no, she did not.
Why did Amber reveal Emily so fast? Is she secretly fatphobic and thought Emily was hot and therefore worthy of sharing her with us so soon? No. Tommy is a very insecure person and could not handle when Amberlynn would get other messages or comments that were like flattering. And Amber's going to refute this and say this is not true, but it is. So Emily encouraged her to post her. She wanted other people to know that there was someone in Amberlynn's life and she's not available. Also, Emily is not skinny, and in my opinion, she is not attractive.
I kind of figured Tommy was insecure. No offense intended, but I certainly got that impression from what little content I have seen where Tommy has featured. But there's always one in a relationship who is that way. There's a reacher and a settler. In this case, I'm not entirely sure if Amber's the Reacher or the Settler, but I know that Tommy's type is Amber, so they could be argued to be the Reacher and Amber is willing to settle because she doesn't have to try anything. I'm going to go to one more question and answer, because this goes on for another 7 minutes, and I don't have all the time in the world to go through every single one and add my perspective. Again, it will be linked down below.
Not asking for personal info on Jade, but was she just as messed up as Amber mentally? She seemed to be more mature, but it's sounding like she was struggling too. All I have to say to that is I think anybody on this planet would struggle if they were Amberlynn's long-term live-in partner.
I remember when they first started dating, and Amber went through the honeymoon phase of her cycle of losing weight, attributing the weight loss success to this love in her new home that she barely ever left, adopting all the enjoyment from the world that she could by being a good locust and taking it from her partner, having a good harvest and sodding off when the well ran dry, which is not a euphemism, but you could certainly believe it is. I am really sorry about the length of that video. I'm also sorry about the audio quality. Let's hope that doesn't ever happen again. Now, something that did come out over the course of the month was the nature of the relationship between that of Wipey, or Feline, and Amber, much of which was ABUSE. Allegations, I do not know enough to confirm it at this point. I also want to highlight that the therapist in this throuple that was earlier mentioned had a TikTok. They got outed, they got doxed, they got a lot of crap for it. In fact, their doxing came from the fact they were wearing an employee's vest for Lowe's. Didn't do them any favours. Let's go with that. When Amber ended that first stream because of anxiety, I genuinely think there is some anxiety here. Not because she's done anything wrong or because she's done anything right, but because for the first time she's truly not in control of the narrative. Whereas for the past 3 years she has sat on a high horse, acting as if she is all high and mighty, not talking about things but alluding to things. This time, it is all out there, or being put out there, and that includes the alleged erotic eating of food things. Yes, I've heard about that. No, I've not seen any illicit material that may well exist from it. No thank you. I don't need to watch a skank eating food. Thank you.
There's a lot of things that like aren't true that are being said, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like upset, like it is what it is. And I like was trying really hard to like protect her, obviously, and just like protect us. And I feel like that's, people could say I'm always in love, it's fine. Like I love, and that's okay. Okay. You can ignore the part where I said I'm in love. Just ignore that part. Just know that like I am still with Tommy, and there's just been a lot of things that like aren't true that have been said, and I just want to be the one to like set it straight because I feel like that's important. And I know like a lot of people aren't gonna believe a word that I say, and that's fine. Like, I fully get it. People will believe what they want to believe. And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, we were going to break up. Without a doubt, that was going to happen. But it's like, we genuinely make each other happy. So it's like, why break up when you genuinely, like, love someone?
So yes, everyone believed this, everyone knew it. Amberlynn did not break up with Tommy even though she said they had, and she blamed the entire internet for it. Okay, you're with a feeder whose partner had died 3 months earlier. In September your weight's gonna go back up again, just as Nick Ricardo's comes down. How interesting is that? Turns out it is possible. What you do in your personal life is of course your own business, and you choose what you do and do not share with the world. Until of course your skanky honus decides it needs to, well, be shown by others. Because it turns out what you don't want us to see is just how two-faced, hypocritical, contradictory, dirty you are. You want us to believe that we're the muggles. turns out you're the muggle. How strange is that? Or maybe you think you're magical, but you have none. I guess that makes you a squib. Grats.
6 months, I might have a ring on it. Like, who knows? I'm joking. I'm sorry. I'm hectic. I need to shut up. Can you imagine me with a ring on it? Like a true ring on it that I actually wanted? That wasn't shade towards... Oh, God. That got me in trouble saying that, I feel like. I heard you rub the cookie on your nookie. No. I was wearing my bra and I like had it and I was like being seductive and I like went like that. And then like I had the cherry and I was like, so yes, Fingerlin is real and will be making an appearance soon, hopefully.
How many times do I need to say ew before it sticks? By the way, for this month on Discord, I have so many sources, I've only just gotten up to August the 8th, and the second stream Amberlynn does in the month. I've barely scratched the surface when it comes to Erica and others involved in that realm. Although this does now afford me the luxury to include a clip that will also make you go ew, and I'm not sorry.
I don't have a labia minora. If you're asking that. I don't have a labia. It's wild off the chain. And you know, it's just a perfect seat. In my humble opinion. It's just a little one if I have one. It's just a little baby. Wait, right? Because you were there.
Now, a recurring theme with a lot of the streams Amber did centered around the fact that she got drunk and started sharing too much. I'm not going to go through any of the other clips of that because it's the same thing. She says things while inebriated. There are references to binge eating, and others have pointed out when comparing her to Foodie Beauty there might be a point because Amber's too ashamed of it, whereas Chantal is addicted and will just do it on camera. Of course, in August, Amber and Chantal are doing vastly different things. One was trying to hide a relationship from the world, the other was pretending hers was real. It was hilarious to me at this point, not only because you had Nick Ocado starting to make a comeback, he hadn't quite done it yet, but we also had Tammy Slatton losing a boatload of weight. Yet Amber and Chantal can't do shit. Okay. The month persisted with drama concerning Alexis, who had been texting Amber because her relationship with Erica had well and truly fallen apart, which did lead to Amber crying on a live stream, and I think she ended it early because of that text message. Amber shared far too much in the sexual area of her life, which I didn't care for in the slightest, but when inebriated on a gigantic buzzball, I'm not surprised. Although let's face it here, I'm pretty sure she'd be done on one apple sour after she added sriracha to it because she's a white bish. The persisting problem with that relationship concerning Erica and the other one, whose name I've already forgotten now, became a massive talking point. Going into September, Amberlynn May does come back to making videos on YouTube, but not that often. So that's where we're now going to go. Oh, and I should insert, Becky did an interview with Karina Kaboom. Yes. And yes, then we found out that Amber was a massive micromanaging control freak and starving for attention, less interested in the relationship and settling down, although she did allude to engagements multiple times. No, in this, she just wants to take your quirky traits and make them her own, which is, to be honest, the one main thing I knew but needed confirmation.